time, space, reality. They are more than a linear path. They are a kaleidoscope of infinite possibilities. Every decision, no matter how small, can branch out into infinite realities, birthing countless alternate realities. I am the Watcher, your guide through these vast new realities. Step into the unknown and ask yourself, what if?
Today, we delve deep into the heart of a question that has haunted every Arcane fan since that pivotal moment in Episode 3. What if Vi never left Powder behind? You heard me right. The rift that divided them, the moment that shaped everything. What if that didn't happen? What if Vi never walked away from her sister, leaving Powder to spiral into the chaos that became Jinx? Today, we're diving headfirst into that alternate reality. Buckle up, because this journey through Arcane's What If world is about to get as wild as Jinx's explosions, but with way more heart. And yeah, critics, we've heard you too. This one's for you. Yes, you heard me right. Now, we did publish this one earlier, but since we received criticism, was expecting fans, but hey, critics are okay too, cry. We've taken it into consideration. We're trying to turn those critics into fans. Wish us luck. Grab your seat. This one's going to be an emotional roller coaster. In this reality, the ripple of one decision sends shockwaves through every corner of Piltover and Zaun, forever changing the fates of its citizens. So let's journey together into an alternate reality where Vi stays with Powder and everything we know about these characters and their world is rewritten. Let's begin with the very core of this alternate timeline, the relationship between Vi and Powder. This is the foundation of Arcane, and without that heartbreaking split, everything else changes. Imagine a Powder who never becomes Jinx, never becomes the embodiment of destruction. Instead, we get a Powder who remains connected to her sister, a girl whose heart still holds hope, love, and a drive for the future. Imagine this. A world where Powder, still a brilliant inventor, has Vi by her side, someone who would support her, protect her, and help guide her through the trials of their harsh environment. This Powder is not the traumatized girl who lashes out in grief and rage, but a young woman whose potential is nurtured by the love of her sister. Instead of becoming the twisted, volatile Jinx, Powder might have blossomed into the very symbol of Zaun's future, a girl who could bring stability to a world that's crumbling. Without the weight of abandonment, the emotional scars that crippled her, Powder's ingenuity could shine brighter. She could invent things that changed Zaun for the better, not out of desperation or to prove something to the world, but out of pure, untainted brilliance. Without the manipulations that turned her into Jinx, Powder could be a beacon of hope, not just for herself, but for all of Zaun. Vi's role in this relationship is equally transformative. Without that fateful decision to leave Powder behind, Vi grows into a version of herself that isn't hardened by guilt, regret, and the betrayal she feels every time she remembers her sister's downfall. Instead of shutting herself off emotionally, Vi would become a more trusting and open individual. She would still be tough and resilient, yes, but without the walls built by years of separation and trauma, Vi could evolve into a more emotionally stable leader, ready to protect not only Zaun, but her sister in ways we never imagined. If Vi never went to jail, the entire trajectory of Arcane would shift dramatically. Vi, as a character, is shaped by the pain and isolation of her time in prison. It's a pivotal moment that fuels her sense of vengeance and mistrust of authority. Without this experience, Vi would avoid the hardened, emotionally scarred version of herself that we see in the show. Instead of being hardened by the prison walls, she'd remain focused on her mission to protect Zaun and her sister, Powder. One of the most intriguing what-ifs in this alternate timeline is the relationship between Vi and Caitlyn. In the original Arcane, Caitlyn is introduced as an enforcer, a young woman who finds herself caught in the turbulent web between Piltover and Zaun. Initially, her relationship with Vi is one of necessity, where trust and emotional bonds are built slowly, if at all. Caitlyn needs to rely on Vi to uncover the secrets of the undercity, while Vi reluctantly teams up with Caitlyn, burdened by her past experiences with authority. But in a world where Vi never went to prison, where she's not carrying the weight of her betrayal, pain, and mistrust, Vi's relationship with Caitlyn would be fundamentally different. Instead of being wary, afraid of getting too close, Vi would meet Caitlyn as an equal. She would see her not as a potential ally out of necessity, but as someone with shared values, someone who genuinely cares about the future of Zaun. Without the emotional baggage of Vi's time in Stillwater, she would be able to open up to Caitlyn in a way that changes everything. Caitlyn, driven by her own moral compass, could see Vi as a person worthy of respect, not just as a hardened criminal. Together, they would form a partnership based on collaboration, trust, and mutual admiration. This connection would create a new kind of alliance, one rooted in shared ideals, not political maneuvering or strategic necessity. Imagine their teamwork. Vi and Caitlyn, united in their common goals, could bring the fight for justice to a whole new level. Caitlyn's investigative brilliance, combined with Vi's street-smart tactics, would create a dynamic that's unstoppable. the emotional intimacy between them would blossom faster too, without the walls that Vi has built around herself. This bond would be the foundation for a true partnership, one that allows them to challenge the status quo of both Piltover and Zaun. In this world, Caitlyn's role would shift from a law enforcer to a diplomatic agent, seeking peace between the two cities. She could work with Vi and Powder not as an outsider, but as an ally, someone who advocates for the future, not just as a protector of Piltover's interests. Their connection would evolve from hesitant collaboration to deep camaraderie, and who knows, perhaps even more. Another profound relationships that would evolve in this alternate reality is the connection between Powder and Ekko. In the original Arcane timeline, Ekko and Powder share a bond that is rooted in survival, a shared sense of loss and hope for something better. But what if Powder didn't spiral into Jinx? What if she and Ekko could grow together without the weight of madness clouding their connection? Without the destructive path that turned Powder into Jinx, we could see a relationship that's both emotionally and intellectually fulfilling. Ekko, ever the optimist, could be the grounding force that Powder needs to stay balanced. Together, they would form a love that is not born of chaos, but of hope, a shared vision for a better future in Zaun. This love would fuel not just their personal growth, but their efforts to improve their world. Powder's inventions, no longer driven by the need to destroy, could become symbols of innovation and progress. Ekko, with his sense of hope and his quiet determination, would offer her the acceptance and understanding that she never received. Their relationship could become the heart of Zaun's resistance, a love story that speaks to the power of trust, mutual respect, and the healing power of connection. One of the most pivotal changes in this alternate timeline would be the effect on Silco. In the original timeline, Jinx is Silco's greatest asset, his unpredictable weapon of chaos. She embodies everything that keeps his grip on Zaun strong. But without her, Silco would be left without his most powerful ally. Without Jinx's destruction, Silco would be forced to rely solely on his own charisma and ruthless tactics. This would weaken his position in the power struggle of Zaun. He would no longer have the leverage that Jinx's rampages gave him, and his role as a leader could crumble under the pressure of internal rebellion. Instead of ruling through fear, Silco would have to become even more brutal, and the people of Zaun might rise against him. A united front led by Vi, Powder, and Ekko would present an existential threat to Silco's regime, one he could not overcome as easily without the chaos that once fueled his control. Now let's zoom out and think about the bigger picture, the undercity of Zaun. Without Jinx's unpredictable rage and violence, the power struggle between the undercity and Piltover takes a completely different turn. You see, Jinx's rampage acted as a rallying cry for the people of Zaun, but it also created a deepening rift. Piltover saw Zaun as a threat, a danger to their perfect world. Jinx was the spark that started the fire, but what if that fire never ignited? Without Jinx's attacks on Piltover, the city's perception of Zaun changes. Instead of viewing Zaun as a ticking time bomb, Piltover might see it as a potential ally. Powder's genius could catch the attention of Piltover's elites. Instead of the cities being on the brink of an all-out war, the relationship between them could evolve into something more delicate, an uneasy truce. The Hextech that Piltover controls could become a point of collaboration, not conflict. But here's the twist. Without Jinx's destruction, we don't get the same urgency from Piltover to control Hextech. In this world, Piltover might be more open to negotiations with Zaun, creating more cooperative ventures, perhaps even joint projects that could lead to shared resources, technology, and infrastructure. Imagine Powder and Vi as the bridges between the two cities, working with Jace, Caitlyn, and other characters to build a new order. The powerful elites of Piltover could still be cautious, yes, but they're not acting from a place of fear or hatred. In this alternate reality, the rift between Piltover and Zaun could be healed. Without Jinx's destructive actions, Powder's brilliance and Vi's leadership could bridge the gap between the two cities. The potential for collaboration, rather than conflict, could lead to a new age of cooperation. Okay, let's dive into one of the most intriguing aspects, Hextech itself. In the original timeline, Hextech is both a blessing and a curse, powerful enough to change the world, but unstable enough to wreak havoc. With Powder's genius and Vi's support, they could take a much more controlled, ethical approach to Hextech. No longer is Hextech a tool for destruction, but a symbol of hope and progress. Imagine a Zaun that thrives because it can harness Hextech to clean the air, power cities, and heal people, not destroy them. Would there be a race between Piltover and Zaun to control Hextech? Maybe, but with the sisters working together, the stakes are different. This isn't about dominance, this is about coexistence. Hextech could be used for the common good, and its potential might be unlocked in ways that nobody thought possible. A new golden age for Zaun and Piltover, where technology doesn't just serve the wealthy elite, but everyone. But here's where it gets really deep. Would peace really be possible? With Powder and Vi uniting Zaun and Piltover, you might think that the war between the two cities would cease, but there's still human nature at play. Would the ruling classes of Piltover simply accept this shift in power? Or would they still see Zaun as a threat, even without Jinx's violence? Maybe the ultimate question isn't whether the war is avoided, but whether the two cities can ever truly trust each other enough to let go of old grudges. However, without the destruction Jinx caused, the world is given a chance to heal. Piltover and Zaun, for the first time, have a real chance at peace. The cities are on the verge of a future where Hextech and innovation can be used for the greater good, not to create division. Vi and Powder lead the way, with their bond as the foundation of everything they build. Instead of Hextech becoming a tool for the elite, it could be used to lift up the oppressed. However, the challenge remains. Can Piltover truly let go of its old prejudices, or will the elite still see Zaun as a threat? Even without Jinx's violence, human nature might stand in the way of peace. But with Vi and Powder at the helm, the dream of a united future could become a reality. So, what happens when Vi never leaves Powder behind? We see a world where chaos gives way to hope, where love and collaboration shape the future of both Piltover and Zaun. This alternate reality is one of healing, progress, and possibility. A world where the bonds of family, friendship, and trust allow for a brighter future. But even in this world, the question remains, can true peace ever be achieved? Can the two cities truly unite, or will the scars of their past always be too deep to overcome? What do you think? Could peace be possible in Arcane? Would Hextech become a force for good, or remain a source of division? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. As always, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring that bell for more what-if theories. Until next time, keep imagining and stay curious.